Okay, we are waiting on others to arrive. And we're doing one of my special potpourri readings on spaces, which is basically anything that you guys need to know. That's, of course, within reason. And if I don't know you as a follower, I'll decide right there and then if you request to speak and ask a question. Okay. So let's just wait until we get a few more in here. I mean, there's pretty much anything you can ask except for personal questions that you would address in a scheduled psychic reading that, we do on my site. So I do these every once in a while for you guys as a way to sort of pay you back for following and being there and being bright and shiny and being my doves. Okay. So let's begin. I am very happy we're out of the month of July. Let's just say that. I think a lot of stuff is going on now. I mean, every single one of my psychic readings that I do for various clients are they're filled with, endings of one thing and beginnings of another. I mean, that seems to be the recurrent theme. Again, my name is Psychic Carla Barron. I mean, my name isn't Psychic Carla Barron, but that's how people know me. There's other psychic people out there. There's other Carla Barrons out there, but I had to put psychic in front of it so people would understand that I was different from some of the other people out there on the internet if you search. So Psychic Carla Barron it was. All right. And Google seems to recognize this, so I'm fine. I have to say that this time is stressful, but it's exciting because people are understanding. It's not just the normal, hey, you need to get rid of what doesn't work. You need to keep what does work and just keep on that path. No, it's not about that. It's about stepping up and realizing if you've been sort of circling the drain and trying to keep something alive or aloft that shouldn't have been alive and aloft. And, I mean, sometimes it works out that you realize that it means everything in the world and you need to stay with it. Other times it means that it's not sad, it's a new beginning. And here's why this is happening. Let me explain what's happening in the universe. This particular configuration is happening now because people need to understand that their agreements in 2025 are different from agreements 200 years ago, where the lifespan was much shorter. You had to make only one or two major agreements and then you cycle off. Now the lifespan is longer, and we have like group karma, world karma, other events in history that are actually replicating. But now we get to see, okay, this is our chance to do it different. So that's what's going on now. As far as agreements I see in readings, the whole idea isn't that it's sad, it's tragic. I invested so much time in various pursuits or a career or a relationship or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden you have to let it go because that wasn't your final destination. And a lot of people are having trouble with that. Um, and it's my job to sort of get in there and see what is your final destination? What is it that you're supposed to end up doing, or the individuals you're supposed to be with? 200 years ago, lifespan was shorter. Agreements were sometimes harder, sometimes easier, but now what I'm finding is that, first of all, if you believe in reincarnation, which is something that I've seen so many times in readings, and I've seen evidence of it, that there is no way that this has been my only lifetime. Number one, I was born with a skill set in various different ways that I never actually sat down and learned. There's documentation of other souls who are able to speak languages they've never spoken before, but it's a past life language. Um, there are there's evidence of scars or various things on the body that represent perhaps how you may have crossed over in the previous lifetime. And they're here to sort of finish that out. Um, I've seen too many things to discount that reincarnation is real. Yes, I was raised Roman Catholic, but it didn't stop there. I started researching way before they told me it was evil to think of such a thing. You have one life and that's it, and once it's over, you're gone. And I didn't buy it from pretty much. I think I was 5 years old when I realized that that wasn't true. So I said, okay, you guys believe whatever you want to believe, and I'm just going to go ahead and read everything I can get my hands on. I studied pretty much every religion in the world. I sat there and I filtered through, various documents and writings and scrolls to see, okay, this one is clearly derivative of this one, and then this one is clearly hearkening back to this one. And I started connecting dots. So that's how it started. But as far as this lifetime, we're going through agreements and life lessons and karmic, events much faster than we used to. I mean, we're jamming it all in there. And, that's what I've noticed with pretty much every single person that I've read privately. So, it's painting a picture for me that, it's not about just, oh, I'm relaxing at the farm in Iowa and I am, sipping on my lemonade and nothing is happening. No, it's not like that. People are reincarnating at a much faster clip, and we're here to address a great number of different types of dynamics. So, one relationship, one marriage, one karmic thread, one, you know, situation with something, you know, that makes you question your very existence. One event where you lose someone through, they cross over and it's unexpected. one of any of those things, it's not the end for you. You're still here. You're still examining and contributing to Akashic records. So you're still here doing the work and seeing it from a different perspective outside of that dynamic. So that's why you're still here. Survivor's guilt or not, that's why you're still here, to see it from a different angle. And there's a thing where I talk to other people that I respect in this field, where they're cycling through and whatever, and they're going through different paranormal experiences, and they're saying, you know, um, why is everything happening so much faster? And the thing is that we're supposed to collect the information in our proverbial basket now, and we're supposed to analyze it later. This is for the records. This is our contribution to, this is our prism that we're seeing it through, and this is how we're contributing to that particular segment of that information. So, sometimes I see that people get married 2, 3 times in the lifetime. Sometimes I see that they experience the loss early on. Somebody dies and somebody crosses over, and they're pretty much with that. And what is their purpose now? And that's something where different angles of those lessons are being examined. So it's not because somebody's trying to punish you. It's not because you're trying to punish yourself. People are remembering romantic novels from the 18th century or something and thinking that that's the way it's supposed to be. And it's definitely not. I mean, you have to divide the life into segments, where there's a distinct line, and then you see yourself entering segment number 2 and then segment number 3. This is how I've sort of perceived it as I've gone along, with the work I've done with other people and also with myself. I mean, I've seen it. So, there's no like, hey, what did I do to deserve this? Why am I being punished? Or why, I think I chose the lifetime I'm supposed to be. Because sometimes you're jamming in 2 or 3 lifetimes into one now. That's why. There's no harm, there's no foul. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the path you're on. So, people are thinking that it's because of them that this happened, and there's so much guilt, being carried around by a lot of people I read with. So, I just want you guys to know that a lot of times it's just, hey, recognize where that partition is and where the ending of that is, and where you have to step into part 2 or part 3 or part 4. And you're not hurting anybody by doing that. You're not, it's basically, you're supposed to learn more. You're supposed to be more. Your life isn't just one dimensional and you have just that. In 2025, I rarely read anybody that has just a one-dimensional thing going on, and it's that one path and that's one thing. Usually it's like filled with, I've got a divorce on one reading I'm reading, and then I'm looking at, child custody on another one, or they're looking at a job career change, or they're moving out of the country because they always knew they were supposed to live somewhere else. There's a lot going on, guys. And, if I could have one wish doing what I do, I would wish that you guys stop bringing all the guilt to the table. It takes up at least the first third of my reading with you. to cross that guilt and then, okay, let's put that aside and let's look at why this is really happening. So I just wanted to say that first. And if anybody has any questions about anything, I'll look, I'll see what I can see. I'll do the best that I can to see as accurately as I can. I mean, if it's about one of the case files out there, that's fine because this is one of those sessions or one of those spaces where I'm just taking it all. Okay. So if you have a question, just send me a request to speak and then I'll go ahead and put you on. I just think that a lot of this has to be addressed now because people are like bracing themselves instead of realizing, hey, that was the end of one chapter and now we have to go to the next chapter. And there's probably one after that too. So it's not all about just that one thing. If people could understand that, then I would get through the first third of my readings with people that I'm reading, for the first or second time. I'm getting past those obstacles that you guys set in front of yourselves for no reason other than guilt. I mean, you've been taught to accept guilt. You've been taught to project guilt, and it's like some sort of pacifier. So, most of what I've seen in readings now, yes, the world is going through um, pretty much a major, it's not just a transition, it's more like a reboot, you know? We're going through a reboot here, guys. And, people want to assign blame to just one person or one political figure or one president or one ruler of some country and say, oh, well, they're responsible. It's not like that. It's more about harnessing the reasons and collecting them and realizing that a lot of people, just they got lazy with their own timelines. They got lazy with the reason they were here. They didn't want to see that part of the problem was them, you know, and we're just working within the structure, the framework of what we've given ourselves. So I've never really subscribed to that kind of thinking. And I've never really been a person that's done anything that someone expected me to do. I have never been that way my entire life. And you know what? I'm super happy being this way because I swear to God, I don't know how you guys get through each day. I don't know how you do it. Um, I just find myself, I don't question everything, but I just know that I have to look at it like Carla would look at it. And like, I just look at it and say, okay, well, is that something that I'm supposed to be a part of or not? So I don't care about monetizing my site or doing all this. I mean, yes, I charge for readings, but that's my work. And what I found to be true with pretty much all of you guys. And I read people in so many countries around the world. Okay. What I've found to be true is that all of the problems are very similar. Um, and people aren't just walking around like in a coma saying, oh, how did this happen to us? Most people want to be part of the solution. So that's good news. Most people that come my way want to be part of the solution. And the fear factor is disappearing. Yay. I'm very happy about that. And people aren't afraid to speak up. Again, you will have different segments of your life. Like I think back to different parts of my life and I'm thinking, how was I even that way? And then I remember that was part of, me building me and my journey and where I had to go. And I think about those and I can see like distinct markers of when that changed to part two and part three and part four. So I can, people forget that we're not in the 18th or 17th centuries anymore, 16th centuries. We're not in the times where we have to adhere to these archaic rules. We just have to be decent human beings. Okay. That's basically the gist. You know, try not to do things to other people that you wouldn't want to have done to yourself. That's all we're asking. And then after that, whatever happens after that, yes, protect yourself. If you're being attacked, protect yourself. If you're being belittled, protect yourself. If you are frightened of future things because somebody's being oppressive, protect yourself. But don't go up there like, carrying that banner or that flag saying, "Hey, I am um, scared of my life and I'm scared to walk through, and I have no idea how I'm going to make it." And I see some people online saying, "I hope this is my last lifetime. I never want to come back again." And it's like, it doesn't work that way, guys. I wish it did, but it does not. Okay. I mean, if you're tired of your life and you want to cycle off, but it will take a while if you do it to yourself. If you take your own life and, that's your choice, it will take quite some time to heal that aura in order to be awarded another lifetime where, I mean, your guides are working on you, you're being healed, you have energy healing going on. There's lots of stuff happening over on the other side. So, you can't just decide, "Oh, I want to stop this train and, I want to be done with the whole thing." Free will says you can. But if you do that and you just throw away life, which is so precious, that is not a thing that will be rewarded. Like, "Oh, I get to come back and do a do over right away." No, you do not. All right, let me see who's requesting. Catherine. Catherine, I added you back. Catherine?
Okay, now I'm here. Yeah, you just said something. So, how does one heal their aura, or do they? You just said it was something that happens on the other side.
I mean, some people are trying to do it here before they cross over, but
Hmm.
if that was in reference to taking your own life,
Oh,
or
I see. Okay.
I mean, if you're having holes in your aura when you cross, they're still going to be there when you cross. So there will be quite some time in Earth years before you're allowed to receive the privilege of coming back again. It's not just a thing where you say, "Oh, I'm going to throw this away now. Let's start over." And if they don't believe in reincarnation, then they're still going to start over. Trust me. Um, and the belief systems are what they are. It's the prism you come in to the life with those agreements, and you look at the lifetime with that veil, that prism, that viewfinder. That's how you look at life. And you pretty much keep that throughout each lifetime until you're done cycling off with that role. It's called a role. And that could comprise many lifetimes before you cycle off a particular role in the life. Um, I mean, like there's certain elements to your personality that will stay the same. That's why they say that the eyes, when you look at somebody's eyes and that energy behind the eyes in a photograph, like that's the key to knowing who that soul is. And you can recognize somebody through their eyes. Um, I agree with that because there's a certain uh, symmetry to, you do that role, but you do various incarnations of that same role until you're done learning about that role, and then you cycle off. Some people are skeptics, some people are, you know, proactive. Some people are warlike and they incite war no matter where they go. Some people are just broken when they come in, and they're broken all the way through every single lifetime. In between lifetimes can be things like, if somebody uh, was a murderer, let's say, and they come back in the next lifetime to examine whatever, they could be the soul that's murdered that lifetime. So they can see it through like a full 360-degree circle. Um, it's rarely that quick, though. It's usually sort of a sidestepping in the second and third lifetimes before you get to the next one where you're the victim. They have to learn a lot of, the dynamics and the psychology behind why they chose to do that in the first place. So, have I worked with law enforcement in past lives? Of course I have, in a very major way, but in a very surprising way, like something you wouldn't expect, and something that was certainly uh, avant-garde, or not of the day, whatever lifetime it was. And I was always the whistleblower, but I would do so behind the scenes, and I would travel through, and I would try to make my influence felt through what I knew to be true. So, some of it was fact finding, some of it was learning how it worked, the process of criminology or how that worked. But it was never, ever a lifetime where I just accepted what was told to me and said, oh, well, this is 100% true. I never was in that lifetime. Not in this role. Not now. Not for a long time. I've never been that person. I've never been the person that was just, they gave me information and said, "Here, this is true." I had to see for myself always. So that's why I encourage anybody that talks to me, look, go see for yourself. Don't accept just everything I'm saying is true. Find your own truth within, your own little nuggets of truth inside of what I'm saying, you know? I don't want people to follow me like that. I don't want, worshipers who just, wait on my every word or my every prophecy. That's not what it's about. I'm here to inspire you to go on your own path and look at the truth the way you see it. So, as far as holes in your aura and being healed, there are certain, let's just say, there's certain rules that if you break them within the universe, some take longer than others. And taking your own life, which takes a while to configure on the other side, where they get the exact, you choose the parents, you choose the family you're being born to, you choose the circumstance and the location where you're being born, and will that encompass most of the lessons you need to address? That takes a little while to get that together. That just isn't something you just, reach your hand in the basket and say, oh, this is my next lifetime. It's not like that. It takes a while to choose, usually what I've seen is people choose family and family members and karma and karmic events so that they can get through the bulk of the lessons that were on the list that they needed to take care of. So yeah, you have a certain list and a certain um, agenda. Let's say on the other side is as a spirit, as a soul, and You're breaking off from one large soul, which encompasses all of us. Okay. So you're breaking off and you're doing your journey as that soul. And you have certain stories that you need to complete, certain lessons you need to contribute to. So when you just throw it away by committing suicide or taking your own life, that's, yes, it's sad, but it's also, it's breaking the rules of the universe, and it will take a while before you are afforded another lifetime where you get the privilege of coming back and doing it again. It is frowned upon that you just, you relinquish all of the lessons and you say, oh, well, I'm too hurt and I'm too wounded, and I just can't do it anymore and I just want to go. And you know that that's the thing. People think that, oh, they can do that and just, oh, they'll just come back and get a do-over. It doesn't happen that way. I have I am probably the leading psychic that I know, that I have ever heard of, that reads more suicides than anybody on this planet. Families seek me out. I don't know why. Maybe it's because my sister took her own life a few years ago, and maybe it's because I know about it on a personal level. I don't know, but you know, this is something that I have to look at in a clinical way, and I have to do the work that I have to do. When you guys are going through hardships with various elements of your life at this point in time, and you're thinking, hey, I've done so much work and I've put so much good work in, and why am I being punished, and why can't I have it all now? It's because you skipped over some of the lessons you were supposed to do, and you forgot about that part, that there's a responsibility with this whole thing. You can't just come in and say, oh, well, I'm going to skip lesson 2, 3, 4, but hey, I did all the rest of it and I did a lot of work and I was punished and I had a lot of things happen to me. It's, everybody has that. I've had punishments come my way, but you know what? I always try to see like some way of working around it, or some way of appreciating what that lesson was. And I say, okay, you know what? My life's not over. I have other stuff I got to do. So, I take from it what I can, and I try to teach you guys with it. That's what I'm here to do. So, Catherine, what is your question about just that whole healing thing?
I was just curious if I mean, if you could if you could heal your aura yourself, or if somebody can heal it, or can they tell if it needs to be healed? I mean, it's just very interesting.
The thing with an aura is it isn't some the way people mostly refer to an aura is that it's something that's a part of, it's away from you somehow, like it's not part of like your being, and your aura is with you, you walk with it every single day.
Well,
So
I understand that, but I mean,
it's attached. when
okay.
we when we incarnate into any particular lifetime, we only bring like maybe at most, and even the transcendental souls like Jesus and Muhammad and like Buddha, like
Hmm.
they've come in, the most energy they bring is maybe around 30%. We could not sustain 100% of our aura or our spirit in this planet.
Okay.
It's just not possible, not in a physical body. The vibration is way too high. We would go out of our minds, okay, trying to do that.
Uh-huh.
And it's not physically possible. So in a physical plane like the earth, what's happening is you come in, maybe around 20% of your energy. That's why it's referred to as your higher self. when
Uh-huh.
people speak of your higher self, that's the rest you left behind in the astral plane. That's the rest. And you consult with your higher self quite a few times. Most of the time, when you're either in a tragic event, like immediately you sync up with your higher self, or if you are sleeping, many times you connect with your higher self, and that's what your dreams are about. It's trying to give you revelation as to the truth of what's going on inside of you, and like what your next steps are. So, as far as healing, listen to your question the way you phrased it. You
Mhm.
phrased it in such a way that it's somebody else that's going to do the healing. And then you said, the last thing you said was, can we do it ourselves? We could
Mhm.
always do it ourselves. We always
Oh,
have the magic within us to do it
right.
ourselves. But
Mhm.
most people like that service performed for them. That's not, even with what I do, yes, it's
Mhm.
very healing to a lot of people and it's very therapeutic. But I will never take away your ability to do it for yourself. And I will chastise you if you try. And you
Okay.
know this because I've read with you numerous times.
Mhm.
So, like, I will not, I will make you do it yourself.
Okay, I understand.
I won't abandon you.
Mhm.
I'm always there, but I
Mhm.
will make you do it yourself before you come back to me.
Okay.
And it's because it's something that's it's not some secret that we all hold, that do the work that I do. It's not
Right.
some secret I have that you can't heal your own aura. And yes, there's meditation, and there's spirit work, and there's going within and whatever. You know what, for every person it's different. Whatever the access point is, it's different. But most of the time it all reduces to that one thing I said in the beginning of this podcast:
Mhm.
treat people like you want them to treat you,
Right.
and then you'll be okay.
Right.
You'll usually have people coming forward out of nowhere to help you.
Mm. Yeah.
When you just live your life without looking for others to fix you, or others to explain why you did what you did, or why you chose what you did, or some sort of reward or acknowledgement you're looking for. Don't look for that. Just do your thing the way you do it, and your contribution the way you are. Trust me, the universe will send you all the beautiful things. All the things will come
Mhm.
to you.
Okay.
Do you ever see me, Catherine, in the years you've known me? Have you
Mm.
ever seen me sit and worry about this shit? I mean, seriously, have you ever seen me ever say that I'm worried about this? And, I might have like a moment where I'm freaking out about something, but then,
Yeah.
I immediately get to fixing it.
Mhm. Yeah, true.
So instead of wallowing in your own pain and wondering why people are treating you this way or that way, start looking inward and just be the beautiful girl that you are.
Right.
And trust me, the universe sends you the ones that are supposed to be on your path and align with you, give you
Mhm.
those opportunities you're supposed to see, give
Mhm.
you the opportunities you're supposed to partake in. That will all happen without you doing a damn thing.
Yeah, true. Mhm.
So I'm trying to teach people by doing it myself. You
Right.
know, I
Mm.
mean, personally some of the things I'm going through, and have I
Mm.
ever complained once about it? No, I just found a
Mm.
way around it.
Yeah, true.
So I'm not saying I'm like elevated or something, but I am saying that I have learned that if I didn't do it that way, that worrying about it and sitting there, being all depressed and whatever. I mean, I've done the depression early in segment number 1 in my life. I mean, I remember like being so depressed and so paralyzed by like, oh, this and that was happening, break up with some idiot guy or whatever, whatever was happening. I was paralyzed for a minute, and it was longer than a minute.
Mhm.
And then I remember segment 2 where I just did everything I love to do. And then I remembered segment 3, and I'm like, this is like the best part. I'm in
Okay.
segment 3 now, and I love this part of my life. This
Okay.
was the part I was meant to be, you
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
And filming on TV was not the best part of my life. Yes, it was how you guys all get introduced to me, but um, it was not the best part of my life. It was actually one of the hardest, because I was living through everybody else's vision of what I should be. And nobody is ever happy doing it that way. You get to the happiest part of your existence in that particular lifetime by being the person you're happiest with, like just when you're sitting with yourself. And that's the part you'll remember when you go. So right now I'm in the best part. And thank God I had the wisdom early on to know that even though I was going through that, I kept seeing other things for myself, so I kept going. But hopefully I can impart some of this to you guys so you don't suffer the way that I did, because I went for much longer than I should have with all that nonsense, you know? So, but I can learn now. I saw it through that viewfinder. I saw the mistakes I made, and I saw why I made them. So I have an understanding and a compassion for why you guys go through it. So I'm not superior to you in any way, ever. I just know that I'm here to teach you how to get through it better than what you're doing now. And most of the people that I read are usually waiting for something. And it's usually waiting for somebody outside of yourself or some event outside of yourself to cause a change. Oh, well, I have to wait until this happens and then I'll do this. No, you don't. You just start doing the stuff you love doing, and that is you. That's it. You do that, the rest is attracted to you. That law of attraction, that's real. That's a real thing. Law of attraction, beautiful thing. I love that we have that. Because that attraction, that part of the universe will magnetize towards you as soon as you step back on that path you're supposed to be on. And you stop worrying about all this other stuff you cannot control at all. Did any of that make sense to you, Miss Catherine?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You gonna remember it this time?
Yep.
All right. So I will let you go, and unless you have another question.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have a question about just anything? It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be about spiritual stuff. It can be, like I said, this is your chance to ask a question about some other case we haven't even looked at, or a case we have looked at and the question wasn't asked in the last podcast. Whatever it is, if you need to ask it, send me a request. So, just some of the things I am seeing. All right. So, part of the other thing that I'm wanting to address here, some of the other themes that are coming up. It's not just about letting go of what doesn't work. I know a lot of psychics and spiritual people out there, a lot of astrologers post, hey, you need to let go of what doesn't work and just keep what does. Like, most people don't know what the hell that means. You know, what that means is, if you knew something was wrong with it, but you're still in it because you feel some sort of obligation to it, that's part of it. That you knew going in there was something wrong with it. There was something wrong with the choice, but you thought that you were supposed to go through it because it was on your path and you were supposed to do that. Well, yeah, you were, but there's an expiration date on some of this stuff. Like I said, there are different segments of your life now versus what it was 200-300 years ago. And yes, I've seen lifetimes from that far ago, and I've seen future lifetimes 100 years into the future. Why I've been given this gift is beyond me, but I have seen certain things that are coming. Some things can be altered by free will, and it depends on a lot of free will and the agreements of those souls that are now present. It depends on whether or not the future things will happen. But if the timeline stays exactly as it is right now, 100 years from now, I can see what that will manifest. So that's why I always allow for free will, and I always let that factor into readings too. It most of the time people do the agreements, but there's like a 10% toggle room that I've seen, like a 10% time where people need more time, or they're not ready yet, or they don't know how, but they're afraid. Most of the time it's because they're afraid. Um, and it's that you will have all the things that will make you feel full and make you feel whole. You will have all those things as long as you stop trying to be someone else's version of you. And I hope somebody heard what I just said, because that was profound. As long as you stop trying to be someone else's version of you. So, and I have to say that Pamela Anderson, I am seeing that she's doing it, and that's a person I never ever in my life would like say, "Hey girl, you actually went and did that." And that's why I kind of look at what she did and I'm like, "You know what? I'm okay with that." She found her space. She found her center. She found her joy, and she didn't care what anybody else thought, and she stopped being everybody else's version of herself. And you know what, I was actually like so happy to see that. I was like, oh my god, I love that whole thing. And now like everybody's talking about that relationship she's in, because it's like this big marker of hey, this can actually happen for you. Your life isn't over just because somebody says, "Oh, you need to be this age and this size and this, you need to look a certain way and you need to act a certain way and you need to do it the way that we wrote out that you need to do it in the instructions." No, 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 no. This girl, this girl, and I have never spoken of her before. And I never thought that I would use her an example of this is what you're supposed to do. But I am going to say it. This is what you're supposed to do. And yay for her. Yay. Yay for her. When I see it in action, I will always draw attention to it. I will always say, this is what you're supposed to do. This is the perfect example, textbook example of how it works. And I'm very happy for her. I'm just happy that's what it is. So, any questions on anything? Anything spiritual? Anything you don't understand that you've got my attention for right at the moment? Because I only do these potpourri sessions like once in a while. So, maybe like 3 times a year, something like that. But it's a chance for you guys to learn some stuff, see an angle that you didn't think about before, you know, maybe get a grasp on, certain things that are troubling you and you don't know how to get out of it. So, um, most of the time I don't walk around like, I'm the go-to, uh I'm like this go-to person that has, um and Annie, I just put you on. Um, so I am the go-to expert on everything spiritual and whatever. No, I look, I'm in the field, I'm learning just like you guys are, but I've been a little further along with this process. And for some reason, I'm the person that is holding that lantern up ahead, and I'm leading us out of this space we're in, and we're going to the next place. Okay. So for whatever reason, I'm that girl. Um, and I've got the lantern up ahead. Just, keep following, keep it going, keep the energy going. Don't doubt yourselves. Keep on the path. Annie, my dear, what's going on?
Hi. Um, I was trying to figure out how to condense all my thoughts because finding this very, very interesting to have into, a succinct question. So,
Hmm.
but I think that basically where I'm coming from is, I've kind of been up and down on my spiritual journey, throughout the years and whatnot. And I feel like I've come to a point in my life where I know a lot of things need to change, but I don't know how to change them, and I always feel like I'm very, like, blocked or paralyzed or, like, you know, just feel kind of frozen with I don't know what. So I guess, do you have any, idea of, like, what kind of, energy might be, like, holding me back or, like, what kind of, um I guess what is, kind of things look like for me as far as like that goes, if that makes sense.
Well, usually when people feel suppressed or they have something heavy weighing on them, you'll have a couple of indicators, whether it's something outside of you or it's usually something you place in your own way because you're fearful of taking the next step. And this is why I'm saying, that's why I use Pamela as an example, because she threw away like the externals. She threw away the external view of how she should be, how she should act, what she should accomplish, what makes her happy, and she did it on her own. She didn't hurt anybody by doing it her own way. She just didn't subscribe to what everybody else thought. So usually if you're feeling paralyzed or you're feeling held down by some sort of heaviness like that, it's because you're looking to an external force to define who you are.
Okay, that makes sense.
And if that's the case, let's figure out who that or who those people are and why you placed yourself in that framework. Why did you do that? Is it because you want to be part of some sort of collective, and you want to be one of many, and you want to participate with the collective? Or is it because you dislike certain parts of yourself so much that you have to look to outside people to define what that is, or society, or whatever your upbringing was? You have to look to see like kind of where it originated, and a lot of that I'll do in a private session. So if you ever have one, let me know. But I I will look to how it started, and then we'll go through a couple of parts of, okay, why did you so easily decide that that was going to be your story?
Mhm.
So in your case, though, just just off the top of my head from what I'm seeing, part of part of this is an anger with, I'm definitely, I'm picking up something around a maternal influence with you. So there was an anger there, that just was seething for a long time.
Mhm.
So you found that you couldn't operate inside of that particular framework, and you started questioning, was that even real? And it just got bigger and bigger the more you pushed it down. So there was
That's
something that you, does that make any sense to you?
yeah, it does. It does resonate a lot. And yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Probably, much more thoroughly than I can really, get into here, but yeah,
Well,
it does make
that's
sense. It
why I try
resonates.
to not make these about personal
Yeah.
sessions, because first of all, I respect privacy above everything. So I don't tell people secrets outside of whatever. So
Mhm.
the biggest thing is that I see that in this particular case, a lot of this was her pain,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of transference to you.
Okay. Yeah, that
So,
that resonates a lot. That actually scarily accurate. But
well, I've never read you before. You just came on to our little group here a little while ago.
yeah, I just kind of randomly fell into, this space. But I think that I think that all this is just so fascinating and whatnot, and I don't want to, take up too much
You
time
know what? We're
speaking,
here.
but
This thing will last as long as it needs to. So if you need to say something, say it.
well, I guess I just wanted to kind of follow up on that with a general kind of question about more about how you like how have you learned to, I guess, kind of use your intuition and, kind of trust yourself and like, because one of my problems I have is that like I have a lot of gut feelings, but like I second guess myself a lot. And then like I've tried to do like meditations and things like that for like clarity, but I'm ADHD and so I can't, sit still. I feel like I can't focus a lot and whatnot. So I guess how have you developed your not necessarily, psychically, but like just your intuition, your kind of gut feelings, and your kind of how do you find it best to like clear your sort of energy and mental space when you find things getting to you if you do,
Um,
if that makes
I
sense.
don't, I don't do it the way that everybody else does it. So mine is sort of unique. I
Mhm.
always make sure that I reward myself every day with something. Either it's something that I've been baking in my oven, or cooking, or a new recipe I've developed, or taking care of my orchid over there, or whatever little things make me happy, or like doing my nails and picking out the perfect whatever. I just have a lot with design and color, and surrounding myself with music every day. Like I never have one station that I adhere to. I usually switch off depending, and I don't decide what that mood's going to be until I wake up in the morning. I never know who I'm going to read until I open up my email that morning. And a lot of people couldn't live like that. So, my life is pretty much in the moment. And I learned to do that because one of my huge lessons this lifetime was a lesson of patience. And I had a real hard time with that in other lifetimes, and I know I did. And it robbed me of a lot of opportunity that I could have had in those lifetimes. So I think I'm getting a lot better at it now. And um, I I just created my own little sanctuary in here, you know, and it was all my little favorite things. And make sure to reward yourself every day with something. That way you have something to look forward to that only you can give yourself.
Okay, that makes sense.
And as far as second guessing yourself and wondering if, what you're seeing is correct, the only way to test that theory is to put it out there.
Hmm.
Here's what I tell people that are starting out working on crime scenes. Like I've had other people that, you know, I sort of started that way, and that's how I became known, was being a psychic detective. I did the pilot to psychic detectives, and I started that whole psychic crime thing, right? So,
Mhm.
I'm sure it was done before me, but I was the first one that made it sort of mainstream. And
Mhm.
what I would tell people is collect all the items that you're seeing, all the observations, all the uh, detail that you see. Collect it all, but do not, under any circumstances, try to make sense of it right in the moment. That's
Mhm.
for after you're done collecting. So people try to
Okay.
do those things and they try to do them simultaneously. They try to collect the information. Like, for instance, let's use an example. The other day I saw the thing about, I had heard about it before, but the thing about the IDs with Brian Koberger, right?
Mhm.
I didn't have like instant thoughts of that. I didn't know why he had those. But I knew that I would just collect that in my basket and I would look at that later when I wanted to look at it. And the thing is, I never know when the mood's going to strike me to do that. So
Mhm.
I had 5 minutes before I had to do something else. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a look at this now. And that's when I get the most profound, the most accurate readings, the most detail is when I don't try to make it like a chore. I don't make it on my list of things to do.
Mhm.
Try not to make it a chore. Try to make it fun for yourself where you pluck that moment out of time and you go, oh, I'm going to do that right now. You know, like have 10 different things on your list and maybe do them out of order.
Mhm.
That will help
Okay.
you with your need to please other people and gain acknowledgement from others so that you feel that you did something right instead of second guessing yourself. I've read some of the stuff you've posted. It's good. But when
Thanks.
you have to go back and edit it, the
Mhm.
only time I go back and edit stuff or repost stuff is when and I again have OCD. So I have to go back. If I have a typo or I misspell something, I have to go back and fix it. So
Yeah, I definitely do that too. But I do find myself a lot, trying to, you know, sort of like half typing things and then deciding, oh, this is not gonna, make sense to
the
anyone,
thing
and I just
is
delete
that
it and things like that.
I didn't even know this podcast is a great example. I had no idea what we were going to talk about today. I had no idea. I just know I'm supposed to be present in the moment with all of you. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And
Mhm.
I don't sit and worry about if somebody likes it or they don't. I just know the
Mhm.
people that are supposed to be listening to this right now are listening and they're absorbing and they're assimilating and they're hearing what I'm saying. I
Yeah, that
I
definitely makes sense.
trust me, I grew up in a family where everything was like, under a microscope and I it's hard to tear yourself away from that. It's hard because that's how you define yourself. And I have never been that girl ever since and I'm so happy and I think you have also the ability to step outside of that, just let that, step out of that jumpsuit that you're in right now and maybe step out of it and you'll be in your next segment.
Awesome, thank you. And it's also interesting how you brought up Pamela Anderson as well, because she's been popping up like a lot, I think, for everyone, but like, I really had, taken notice of, wow, she seems like she's really, happy and doing well and stuff, and isn't that neat? And it was just kind of like a stray thought, but like, oh, um she's kind of living her best life. And so it's funny that that you brought up that particular example too, as
Well,
well,
and
as kind of like
I've never
inspiration.
brought her up ever in my entire life. I mean, I
Mhm.
saw that and I said, I'm enough of a student of the universe that I know when I see something that's a great example, a textbook example of what to do. And she
Yeah.
just did it, and yay for her. And I
Yeah,
don't have
definitely
any
inspirational.
particular, I'm not fangirling her. I'm but I am going to be a fangirl of what she just did. That was amazing. And I hope
Yeah, definitely.
so many people follow her example. I just love it. And Liam,
Mhm.
good for him that he saw it too. But it was mainly her. Like I think she was the attraction device, and she just knew that by being herself, and what could Liam do but to be with her, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, it's really sweet and it's really inspirational to see,
I
so
am
yeah.
loving that whole situation, you know?
But thank you
So,
so much for answering my question.
oh, you're so welcome. And thanks for coming to these things, because I actually like you being around. I like your energy. So,
Oh, thank
um
you. It's very enjoyable.
all right. So anybody else want to ask anything? Anybody want to talk about something? Something they don't understand, something in the universe? Michelle, did you want to say anything to us? Because I know you sit and you wait for these things. Just ask for a request to speak if you want to ask me a question. Um, so again, we're not just waiting for something, guys. The whole waiting thing has been for us to recognize that we were the ones that stopped ourselves. We were the ones that threw these interferences on our timeline. We did it to ourselves. And we did it because of all the reasons I stated before. We either did it because um, we weren't ready, or we thought we were scared of what we might see. Okay, Shell. Hey, honey. All right. So
Just realizing, hi Carla. I'm just realizing that I'm learning a valuable lesson of self-validating. I seem to be looking for others to validate myself, and I realize that I have to do it myself.
and I didn't know that that would be a theme in today's talk, but it's something where it's funny once you realize that about yourself. Isn't it funny how you're never going to forget it now?
Nope, ever.
It seems to be embedded in your DNA now. Like you can't escape looking at that, you know,
No,
and you can't just ignore that it's there now. It's
I
funny.
think I just went into my next step,
Well, and that's what I'm
as you
saying.
put
It's
it.
like, everybody has these different segments in their life now, and they're distinct. Like, if you go back in your own life and you look at your timeline and you look at the various things that happen, like, you can put them in distinct segments of
Hmm.
learning and stages that you went through. And I think it's more distinct now than it was, like I said, hundreds of years ago. I think, now we have multiple lifetimes. We're jamming into one is the basic premise there.
That's what it feels like. Yes.
And, I mean, for whatever reason, that's what it is. But, we've evolved enough as humans, as souls, that
Hmm.
you know what? When they say that, God or the universe wouldn't have placed something in your path unless you could deal with it, right? I mean,
Exactly.
that's kind of what it is. It's like, if we weren't capable of actually doing that, then we wouldn't be faced with that.
I guess, as you put it, these are lessons that we're here to learn, and that's a big one for me.
Well, and and just, it doesn't mean that you exclude everybody out there and that you don't listen to anybody else but yourself. Obviously,
No, 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 of course not.
there
Hmm.
are teachers and mentors and friends and family and whatever, where there are
Hmm.
messages that come through, but you have to be discerning in
Right.
those messages. You have to be discerning and pluck those messages out, the ones that actually are meant for you.
Hmm.
Because not everything is a symbol, not everything is a message, not everything is some revelation, and
Hmm.
there are some people that's all they do is they look for like meanings. Oh, this means that, or the clock turns a certain time and it means that. Times, but not every time, and certainly not most of the time. But when you get adept at learning to pluck the
Hmm.
signs the way that they're being given to you, they sort of make a roadmap, and you can follow along, and you can see where you're supposed to go next based on what you're plucking from the universe.
And that's what I'm seeing, definitely.
Do what I do in psychic detective work on crime scenes,
Hmm.
murder cases, missing persons. Do what I do. Don't try to make sense of what you're plucking right at that moment.
Hmm.
Just mark it down. Just notate it. Make notes
Right.
for yourself. Note that
Or put it to the side and pick it up later.
there are so many people that get frustrated that they get a sign, or they have an event happen and it means something, and they can't even sleep at night until they're so frustrated they can't figure out what it means. They can't rest until they know what that means. It's like, you're not meant to know what it means right at that moment. You're meant to know what
Hmm.
it means later, when you put it together with all the other little things you've compiled in your basket, you know
That's right. Hmm. Sometimes I don't even know that it's a sign until something else happens, and then I realize, wait a minute, I just remember seeing that or hearing that, and it kind of like meshes, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, and again, I don't get it right 100% of the time. I mean, I make mistakes too, but for the most part, when I'm in this mode, I'm in psychic mode where I have
Hmm.
prophecies that are being shown to me in my head. That's a different mode than just Carla, baking whatever I choose to bake in the morning, or whatever. That's a different
Hmm.
Carla. And I realize that I have different modes that I get in.
Right.
And I easily slip into one or the other. All I have to
Hmm.
do is think about doing that. I don't make it a hard thing. I don't make it a difficult task. I just know that, okay, I'm going to let that go and I'm going to go to this mode.
Hmm.
It's just a different part of my brain that I access.
Hmm.
Sure, if they hooked me up to electrodes and they actually touched my brain, you would see it light up in different sections.
I'm sure.
I'm pretty confident that that's how. A lot of my issues that I work with happen in my dream state,
Right.
and I have trained myself to remember my dreams. And I actually do a funny thing. I actually email myself a lot of my the stuff I dream, because I have no idea what the hell it meant right at that moment. But
I wish I could remember that.
I do. I email myself and I'm like, oh my God. So
Wow.
so anyway, is there any other question? And I'm gonna add C around here. All right. So um what other questions did you have, my dear?
I think that was it. I just wanted to make a statement about self-validation. That's something that I learned and something that I hear a lot of women don't do enough of. And I just wanted to put it out there. But I thank you so much for being a great guide for us and making us think for ourselves a lot of the time.
And if I ever stop doing that or I forget to do that, I expect you guys to remind me. Okay?
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
again, I'm human and sometimes I forget. But I try the best I can. Okay?
You do very well. Thank you.
So we'll let Seer on here. Seer?
Okay.
Seer? I added you on the thing. Seer? You need to click on your mic because we can't hear you. Wait, I think she needs to request again. Hold on. All right, I just added you again.
Oh, what happened? You disappeared a little bit and I could hear nothing and my request went away. So I was,
Well, I put you on and then you left me. You left me hanging.
it was a very weird thing, but I'm glad that we connected. And always good to hear you. Thank you for making the time to talk to us. I know it's much appreciated. I know I appreciate it.
No problem. All right. So have you been listening to some of our stuff?
I have, and I have, my question is, and I don't know if other people would have this, but sometimes I know that I want to change a habit or way of being or whatever, in the whole wanting to improve yourself and become the person that you're always more proud of or whatever. So sometimes I know that, but I'm not, and I'm cognizant that I'm not doing, just out of laziness or just, panoply of reasons. You can always come up with a good reason. I don't, or even just things that I want to get done, or just. So my question is, in terms of when you've identified what you, even the things that you know that you want to do clearly, the steps when you know what you want to do different, but you're not
Okay.
always
All right.
acting on it.
I think I already answered that earlier, but I'll say it a different way so that way you'll understand. Um, Try to make your list of things and do the list of things out of order like I do. God, if everything was a chore to me and I sat there thinking of all the things, all my OCD things and all my cleaning things and just like whatever I plague myself with daily, it would become such a chore to get up in the morning. But instead, I do it out of order and I don't make it a prerequisite that I get it done at that particular moment. It has created a sense of being excited about it when I see that one thing and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do that one now. And it may be item 4 on the list, you know. It's like way down the list and it's not something I expected to do that particular day. Make it fun for yourself that you just, or take your list of things and make slips of paper and put them in a bowl and then pick the one thing and the universe will tell you the one thing you're supposed to do that day.
I'm not sure that laziness was really on my list, but that's what winds up, like when I want to accomplish something and I'll think, oh, that's a lot to bite off right at this time.
You know what?
I'll do that
You can,
tomorrow.
if, and I have a feeling you're similar to me in this respect that once you start something, like, damn
Hmm.
it, if I don't have to finish it,
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
I start something and it's like, damn, and it's like I wanted to do something else, and like once I start it, I'm 10 minutes in, I got to finish the damn thing. So
Hmm.
whatever it is, put the items in a bowl, and the universe will tell you what you're able to do that day or what you are being directed to do that day. The universe is basically your higher self telling you which thing you're supposed to address first. Try
Okay.
it. Try it and
I
tell,
will. I will.
try it.
I,
It'll be a fun little exercise for you. And I am giving it to you as your homework for the day. So
well,
what you want to
thank
do is
you.
you want to take the slips of paper and just fold them up, and you're in the morning, just pick the one you're supposed to do and you'll go, oh, I can't do that today, I don't have time for that today. If you start it, you'll be very surprised at how you get it done so fast, and you'll be like, oh my god, I feel such a sense of accomplishment. Like I usually am sitting there patting myself in the back and thanking the universe, thank you for letting me do that today, because that was the thing that worried me the most and I got it out of
Hmm.
the way, it's done, you know.
Hmm. Okay. I will give that a try, and I'm going to try that too with a even like a behavior, like the next time something triggers something I don't like to see about myself, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm
Well,
going to
and
try it a
and
different way.
if you have your list and your bowl of things that you're looking at doing, then you won't even think about the behavior. You won't like subjugate or like put yourself in a position where you you di- you divert to that behavior. You won't even do
Mhm.
it because
Okay.
you'll be so focused on that one thing that the universe picked for you that it'll be like this magical exercise that you do with yourself and you'll be like, "Oh my god." That's
I will absolutely try that. Thank
that's
you.
why I don't have a calendar where people can, you know, set their readings with me and whatever. What a boring life that would be for me if I had to sit there. Then this work would be a chore. I would be like, "Oh my god, I do not want to do 20 readings today." You know, and
Mm.
instead it is just such a nice surprise when I see who it is I'm supposed to read, you know?
Mm.
I'm telling you, it's such a and it makes each day kind of magical. I think that's what you're missing, my girl. I think you're missing the magic.
Well, I definitely feel like I give myself the pressure of I really, really want to get X done, or whatever it is.
Well,
I
instead
really
of you
need to.
doing it, let the universe decide and then you're out of the equation.
I will give that thank you so much. I will give that a try.
And it's not that you're out of the equation, your conscious self is out of the equation. Your higher self chose what it was that you were supposed to get done.
Mhm.
And then
Just
there's
trust
no
in that.
see, then you do it that way, there's no guilt because
Mhm.
you can't be guilty of something the universe chose, right? That's what I'm saying. So try that and let me know later if it worked.
I will do that.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, honey. All right. So anybody else with any questions on any little thing that may be causing you to wonder? Um, I kind of like how these potpourri deals go because we never know what the topic is going to be, and we never know the thread that's going to happen or the the elements that are going to present. But I kind of like it because then I'm already wound up right now. It's going to take me hours to wind down from this. Because usually what happens is when we're talking of things like this, it it's like sparkle energy. It's like the universe is the energy is elevated. So it's hard for me to wind down after I talk about these things because it's in the higher realm. And it's like, do I need to clean something in my kitchen? No, I do not, because I'm still in the higher realm. So you know what, I forgive myself for all those things and I just let it happen the way it's supposed to happen. And that's how it goes. I'm not saying you can all be like me, but a few of these little things might help you make your day less boring and less tragic and less like drudgery. Make it exciting where you don't know. There's a mystery about what the thing is that you're going to choose to do. If anybody else tries these ideas, let us know. Just post it, I'll repost it. It'll be like that, or write a testimonial, whatever it is. Um, but I have found that this works. I wouldn't be telling you things that I haven't tried myself. So anyway, I we've been going, oh my god, it's like an hour. See, when you're in the higher realm, time doesn't exist. We're almost at an hour and a half and we're still going. So again, I don't look at the time. It's as long as it takes. Anybody else have any question that they would like to pose on this particular podcast? If you do, send me a request to speak. I'll get you on. But otherwise, we'll do this again. I do these periodically in between just as a sort of refresher. And if you need to book a private session with me, that's posted pretty much every day when I get up and I post on this platform, or you can just email me through my website. And again, I will have all of these up within the hour. Unless somebody else has something else to say, I'm going to wish you guys a good evening. And until next time. But this was good. I love this one. This was a good one. All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks for coming. Bye bye.